I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. More National Racing Network live coverage of the U.S. Open Wheel Doubleheader coming to you tonight from the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Liège, Belgium. Spa-Francorchamps, it kind of sits right in the middle of those three towns. That's what the original racetrack here did. It ran between those three towns. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth by James Watson, and a new voice for you, Christian Jasper, one of the co-hosts of our Pizza at the Pagoda show, coming back here in just a couple of weeks. I am jacked up for that one. I cannot wait for y'all to see what the Pizza at the Pagoda show is going to look like this year. But, James, we're going to come to you first. It's Spa Week. I get as excited for this as I do for Oval Week.
Yeah, like the last two times we've been here, it's ended in a right-at-the-line photo finish. This track is absolutely perfect for this car because it has so many draft lock areas, but you also have the turn section 2, which is a lot of corners, and you're really having to wheel it through because you have to run pretty well minimum downforce to have a fighting chance on the straightaways. So it really puts a lot of the driver skill on display going through Sector 2 because you don't have that to use as a crutch going through.
Qualifications just getting underway. Our buddy, Tasty, checking in the comments already here. Let's go. My favorite track that's still on the F1 calendar. Mine too, I think. I do have some others that I like that are kind of hot takey. But, Christian, let's come to you. James mentioned the 3 wides and photo finishes, and don't go anywhere is all I'm going to say. Hashtag no spoilers, but good God, was the D-Class race fantastic out here.
Man, it was so good. It was so good, and you're really not kidding. It is definitely a draft track. It's almost like the American counterpart of Road America, except it's a little bit wider. It's not as bumpy. It's more forgiving, but at the same time, not so much. Especially in the parts that are after the Kemmel Straight. At that point, it's all about the braking. If you go in too hot, the front end just falls away, and you have no grip, and the corner's lost.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into this racetrack. The draft is big. Like James and Christian both mentioned, this place is so difficult to get perfect every time out. And because it's draft locked, you kind of have to be perfect every time out or you're going to have some big issues. Cars are on the racetrack for qualifications. Let's see. And everybody is out there thus far. Some are a little bit further along in their initial lap than others. It looks like David Porcelli will be one of the last cars to finish his qualification run. Brian Labarge also towards the end. Richard Holt, Mike Holler. But the first cars we're going to see coming across the line will start with Ted Burns. He's in the big box. Carter Lundy in box number 2 in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. So many storylines to check out here tonight. Let's take a look as they're coming around at our point standings for the broadcast championship. Ted Burns leading by 8 over Carter Lundy. David Porcelli 27 points back of your leader in third. From there, it is a huge drop-off. Nicholas Daly 81 points back in the 4th position. So it's a 3-horse race here as we approach actually at the halfway point. Nagisa Yoshikawa rounding out the top 5, 6 through 10. Richard Holt, Everett Paddock, Carl Lemkuhl, Sean P. Malloy Esquire, and Nikita Lastochkin. On the Indy Pro 2000 side of things, it's Teddy B holding on to a 20-point lead over David Porcelli. Carter Lundy, 27 points back. Nagisa Yoshikawa, 47 back in 4th. Nicholas Daly, 49 back in 5th, tied with Everett Paddock. 7 through 10 will be Andrew Berry, Richard Holt, Sean P. Malloy Esquire, and Carl Lemkuhl. Let's see if I can make the spreadsheets do their magic math and work and things. I'm actually not all that good at computers as much as people like to think. Average start this season, best belongs to David Porcelli at a 2.8, 2.83 for Ted Burns. Chris Preston, who is not in the race tonight, actually sitting 3rd best with an average start of 4th, but he's only made 1 start this season. Carter Lundy, 4.8. He's getting better, but we're going to have to see what the numbers look like here as they go along. Everybody on their first hot laps. David Porcelli actually just completing his first lap, 2 minutes 13.004. Brian Labarge, Mike Holler, Rod Eskew. There's Everett Paddock, top of the board, 2 minutes 12.707. Carter Lundy with a heater, but it's not good enough, 2:12.673. He's going to be second quick. Ted Burns, lap number 1, is going to come to a conclusion very, very shortly here. Down into this final chicane, as you see Carter Lundy making his way up through Radial. Over the line goes Teddy B as Nicholas Daly goes P1, 2:12.502, 2:12.652 for Ted Burns. Good laps here. Let's pick up Nicholas Daly. 3 drivers in the top 5 with higher than 6,000 I ratings. Everett Paddock at a 52.43, and Nicholas Daly, the slouch that he is, 46.73. Good God almighty, this is ridiculous. Of note also in this field, Nagisa Yoshikawa, a 5,048. Jay Dixon, a 4,024. Sean Malloy Esquire, 46.44. There's a whole lot of heavy iron in these shows.
Man, I'm looking at these qualifying times, and they're just so close. Like 1st through 10th already, just within a second. That's for a road course, that's really, really close.
Yeah, it's about as tight as you're going to get.
Especially for a road course as big as this one, because you have so much to deal with, so much ground to cover, that just the slightest little mistake, it's going to cost you a ridiculous amount of time. Especially when you have a big track that also has a lot of straightaways and fast corners. If you're just a little bit hesitant to get on the throttle, that's going to be at a 10th if you're lucky. So the fact that despite all that, we still have such a close grid, it's going to be an even further race of chaos.
Man, it makes you wonder how close these guys are going to be running, especially at really just at the beginning of the race. If everybody if everybody behaves.
Oh my goodness! How about Carter Lundy going top of the board? 2:12.327, 2:12.434, a difference of 11 hundredths of a second, 10th and change, whatever, between Carter Lundy and Ted Burns. Nicholas Daly, Everett Paddock, David Porcelli, your top 5. The heavy iron has showed up here at Spa.
Everybody knows it. Everybody loves it. Whenever you come to Spa, especially if it's a track that everybody knows, you got to show what you got.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those places, James. It's kind of nut up and ball out. It is very fast. You flop them out on the table, and I got the biggest set in the room here when you're in qualifying. In the race, it's almost more of like who's the cleanest dumb driver out there, because that's what it feels like some of these moves are.
Yeah, everybody remember Phoenix from a couple weeks ago? Yeah, we're gonna get that in road course form tonight. Try going 3 wide through Lake Home.
Yes. 3 wide through Lake Home, 3 wide through the bus stop, 3 wide through everywhere is what it feels like we're going to be getting here tonight. Well, let's take a look at the starting grid. Carter Lundy and Ted Burns occupying row number 1, as we mentioned. Nicholas Daly, Everett Paddock on row 2. David Porcelli and Carl Lemkool on row number 3. Don't count out Carl. He has been sneaky fast this season. Sean Malloy Esquire, the third of the Downforce Racing cars, lining up alongside Team Watson Racing's Nagisa Yoshikawa. Jay Dixon, another Downforce Racing car. And Mike Holler. Nicholas Daly, the fourth of those Downforce Racing cars in the field tonight. Brian Labarge and Richard Holt on row number 6. Row 7 will have Rod Eskew and Frank Wynn. Blaze Andrich and Liam Loisel on row number 8. Row 9, Brian Karszewski and Stephen C. Thompson. All alone in row number 10 will be Felipe Scarroll out of Brazil. I think we've had every continent that iRacing is available on represented here tonight.
It's a good night to show the world what you can do.
That's a dynamite drop in there, buddy. Well done. God, I feel like I need to drink more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Christian's over there rocking Fireball and Bengal tea or something. Are you guys full Charlie Sheen Tiger Blood is what we're getting after here tonight? Man, I don't know. I'm on my 400th glass of water today, trying to fight off whatever this cold has been. But James, do you have a purple Powerade or a pink one or something there in front of you?
No, I just have RC Cola.
Oh, that's even better. Toast them up. 12 laps around Spa. Green flags out. Enjoy the start. Absolutely love that shot into Eau Rouge. How these cars just start to, they almost compress into the bottom of that corner. It is spectacular looking. Ted Burns going to have the early race lead. Carter Lundy thought about the move. Nicholas Daly right there as well. First time into Lake Home. Everybody's going to behave. Single file their way through this one. Take a look at the overhead from the NRN drone. I almost have to say a little bit surprised that we were that clean on the start here, James, because sometimes we see insanity happen very early. Almost like they want to get a lap's worth of heat in the tires before they start doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, thankfully with the level of talent that we have in this series, we don't have to really worry about the dive bombs into La Source on lap 1 that you would see in most, even in real life. We haven't really seen many big melees here. I think we only saw one big disaster up at the top of Eau Rouge last season, but it's usually pretty clean. I think a lot of people are just concerned about not wanting to lose draft, because with how close everyone is, you lose the draft, you're destroyed. Your race is over.
Yeah, and Christian, that really comes into play here. We're watching this battle for third between Nicholas Daly and David Porcelli. They can fight a little bit but they really can't get too far out. The box that's in the lower right-hand corner of your screen is already 2 seconds back. These guys may be out of contention for a race win already.
They could be. They very well could be. That's especially if the guys that are just ahead of them still stay in line. It's a short race, but it's a short race on paper, but it's a long race by the mileage. It's a 7-kilometer track, 11 laps. You know, the Indy Pro, it's on this track in particular, it can be pretty rough on the tires depending on how you have it set up, especially as it gets lighter on fuel. Back into that car just wants to come up if you really want to have this running as good as you want it to. So you really got to play it safe. You really got to play it smart, but you also kind of got to get after it.
Yeah, and we're seeing Carter Lundy staying tucked up right behind race leader Ted Burns. They're opening the gap up a little bit on Nicholas Daly and David Porcelli. They just don't want them to have the opportunity to play at all.
Yeah, they are right at the very edge of losing the draft.
It's almost like you want to drive it kind of like a Mazda MX-5 race. You work together with a few folks at the front. Don't race too hard, but keep the draft. Try to lose the rest of the group, and then tack off a couple more from that train, so you're only having to deal with, ideally, no one, but, you know, maybe one, maybe 2 people at the end. But if everyone's working together like this and everyone knows that that's the game that you got to play and they keep with it, it can be an absolute scrap at the end of this race.
Yeah, I think
instructions unclear, still 4 wide at the finish.
I was just going to say, James, that all is well and good until you start to hear the spotters say 5 to go, 2 to go. You start to hear some of those call-outs, and it's like, man, I got to go.
Yeah, once you get to a certain distance remaining, all brain power goes out the window.
Actually, kind of interesting. Nicholas Daly, I mean, the dude's quick. We saw that, and we've seen that throughout the season. You wonder if David Porcelli might not be a hair faster. We saw this in the USF race. We've seen this in weeks past. Porcelli is not a patient guy when he thinks he's quicker than the car in front.
Yeah, but David's also not an idiot either. Like, I believe that he might be a little quicker than Nick, but he knows that if he tries to push the issue and tries to push past, that his speed isn't gonna be that much different. Now here you can pull off a pass, you can pull off a little bit of a slingshot and not lose any time. Realistically, you can also gain a little time that way. You know, we hear the term swap drafting a lot when it comes to open wheels. So if he had tried that going into Le Source, then it would be a bad move because it would cost them a huge chunk of time. But nice little switcheroo going down Kimmel Straight. No, that's what you need to do because they are just about to fall out of draft range.
Yeah, and he's making up a little bit of ground. Nicholas Daly is fallen off probably 5-6 car lengths at this point off the back end of Porcelli's machine.
Yeah, like I felt that David was a little bit faster, but wow, he's already starting to put together a pretty decent gap. Not even out of sector 2.
Yeah, that's saved by Daly.
Yeah, that's not going to help him keep up with David.
Yeah, Porcelli just set the purple lap on that last run too, so he knows he's got it under him.
Yeah, he's got the bit between the teeth. I think he's back in this now.
2 minutes 12.463, that lap time of record that Christian was able to make mention of for us. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. By the way, the new graphics packages and stuff that are coming, oh my goodness. I am completely jacked up for this. It has actually reignited the passion for iRacing content in me.
Woo!
To say I'm looking forward to it is a pretty wild understatement. Oh man, how did I miss it? pass for the race lead. Now Teddy B going to come right back past Carter Lundy. So they're just going to swap the race lead at this point.
Yep. Swap draft, try to keep momentum up for both cars, although it's not going to make much of a difference since it's now essentially become a three-way battle for the lead here. And look at everyone else behind David.
Yep.
This might just be a lot more than a three-way battle for the lead.
Yeah, Christian, we just went from talking about Porcelli almost being out of range, maybe even needing some help to catch the leaders, to one passing attempt, bringing everybody back. At the very least, they're within draft range. If the leaders don't stay nose to tail, this is going to be a 6-7 car battle for the race win.
It really is. Porcelli just made himself he really made himself the peloton for the rest of that group. This is real. I feel like this is really going to tighten up as we get later on in the stint.
So what you're saying is Phoenix just a couple weeks ago then, right?
It could be. It could be. I don't see why not. Provided they behave. But there's so many slower technical corners that you like, especially later on in the race. You really have to be patient. But road course race, last lap. Patience? Who is she?
Well,
could not be me.
I'll tell you what, Christian, we're seeing now. This is the hard part because we have to make reference to the race that's going to be coming up next. David Porcelli was not thrilled with the outcome of that race. He's now battling two of the guys that were involved in the craziness that was the USF 2000 race. Hashtag no spoilers, but there may be a little bit of red mist here running in third right now.
Yeah, he's pulling up onto the rear attenuators like, buenos noches. And,
he's going full LS George.
If Porcelli can keep it together and keep it under him, I think he could do it. But he's really gotta chill it out. He's really gotta chill it out, especially this early in the race or late, however you want to look at it. At this point in the race, you gotta keep it clean. You gotta hit your marks. If it were me, I would be hanging back until the last lap. I would probably take a couple peaks, maybe apply a little bit of pressure, but I wouldn't do anything more than that, provided I could at least keep the leader within arm's length.
Yeah, the problem is if you're Teddy B running in second right now, David Porcelli, he wants passed. That again, we're back to this, the concept of I think I'm quicker than you. I'm going to want to get past. Ted Burns is now going to have to show his cards a little bit, and unfortunately, it's going to bring, well, fortunately for us, everybody is going to come back into this pack if they start battling down the Kemmel Straight. Six laps down, 6 laps to go here in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship from Spa. Let's see, not a ton going on deeper in the pack. We're going to keep things kind of here towards the front of the field.
Tell you what, he looked like he wanted to take it side by side, going through Eau Rouge and Radillon. That would have been a move.
I say that's ballsy. It's about the one place I don't think you can go too wide here. Carter Lundy going to lose 2 spots down the Kemmel Straight to Ted Burns, and David Porcelli drops Lundy to third. Daly, Paddock, Lemcool, the top 6, all in line. 7th place, Sean P. Malloy Esquire, dropping back just a little bit. back to the 7th position. He is now about 2 seconds back of Carl Lemkool. And he's got about 4 3/4 seconds to 8th place running Mike Holler. New fastest lap of the race belongs to 4th place running Nicholas Daly. 2 minutes 12.440.
You know, it's almost like Daly is running maybe just a little bit more downforce on his car, because he's keeping up with him in the corners, and he's able to keep the draft, but I don't know. It's almost like he can't catch up to them quite as quick as Burns, Porcelli, and Lundy are sticking with each other.
Yeah, it's kind of curious to see, because clearly his teammate is up at the front not having issues with it, so I suppose they could have 2 different setups, but you'd think they'd be on a little bit of a more even playing field, although we're probably just speculating for no reason, and they can just control chilling back there and forth.
I mean, you know, we're professionals, allegedly.
Allegedly. That's one we haven't heard on this broadcast in a while. So lap number 7 is up on the board. There are 5 laps to go here at Spa. Cross flags were last time by. Interesting to see what Lundy and Porcelli are going to choose to do here. 3 wide down toward Lake Home. Lundy gets back in line. David Porcelli going to move through to the race lead. Oh, man, and Lundy's has to slot back into 3rd. Now, I'll pose this question to both of you guys. Do you start doing the mental math going, I don't want to be first at 1 to go, so I need to be first with 2 to go, 4 to go. I don't want to be leading right now?
Oh, 100%. You know, that's the thing when you're having a race like this at a track like this. You kind of have to be a couple moves ahead. You know, I always kind of liken pack racing to chess at 200 miles an hour. Now, granted, we're not going that fast in these cars, but same thing still applies. You know, you've got a lot more stuff you need to manage than just, you know, wheeling the car around the corners. You have to figure out what the people around you are going to do and predict what they are going to do and try to plan out your moves alongside that.
I'll go to my grave saying it's Spa is number 1. I do love this place. I know it gets a little bit of the reputation of everybody runs it, and it runs in every series on iRacing and everything, because it's a great racetrack. It's not just that it's a classic. It's not that it's an F1 circuit. This is a pure driver's test in everything from slower cars all the way up to trying to have the Huevos to take a Lotus 79 through a Rouge Radion without lifting.
Oh, are we going to see 3 wide?
You're about to see 3 wide again.
Oh, boy.
Lundy tucks in. Now is he going to make the move? Porcelli's going to get some drafting help from Nicholas Daly, actually. Everybody nice into Lake Home that time. But there's 4 laps to go. There's still plenty of time left in this race. You don't have to be brave yet. And you don't have to really be stupid until there's 1 to go.
You really don't, and I've been following Daly the past couple of laps, and he's actually lifting a little bit in Eau Rouge. So he's what we were talking about before, not even wanting to be in first, heck, even 3rd. That's really what it seems like he's doing. He's had the run to be able to take a peek, but he just hasn't taken it. This is really going to be. I bet we're going to see about 3 lead changes on the last 2 laps between all these guys.
All I have to say is nonsense. There's always time to be stupid.
See,
You're not wrong.
The slightest bit of an off track for both Nicholas Daly and Everett Paddock, lasting just a tick over 1 second. But that could be enough to take them out of draft range. Although, with Lundy and Porcelli kind of starting to bob and weave a little bit here, they're going to come right back into play. 6th place Carl Lemcool falling off just a little bit. Almost like Carter Lundy practicing that entry, the shallow entry into the bus stop. Knowing that you're going to have, that might be a passing opportunity with 1 to go.
It's always nice and tidy in the first few corners, and then starts shaping up to look like it's about to be something else, but then they just line it right back up.
Yeah, I think they're lining it back up because they know what the run is down the Kemmel Straight. I mean, you see Carter Lundy, he pulls out. He could have the lead. Yeah, he'll be clear before they even get to Lake Home. Some of these moves, almost like you walk in, you tell the barber, I want the soft fade. I don't want that hard military cut fade. I want that nice soft fade. That's what you're seeing out of some of these guys. They're not blocking. They're not being overly aggressive with their maneuvers. They're doing just making the car just wide enough that the guy behind you goes, I'm not here. I'm not doing it here.
They really are. They really are. I get the feeling that's going to change, and coming up to the next couple of laps. We're working, what, lap 9? Yeah, lap 9. That's, I don't know, unless they're really still thinking about the moves they're making. I would say I'd probably be trying to apply a little bit more pressure now.
It's a little bit of an off track for Teddy B. Here comes Burns looking inside. Wow, great pass by Ted Burns into the chicane. Now with 2 laps to go here at the start-finish line, a couple of popsicle sticks out from the flag stand. That was a masterclass in how to get that pass completed into the bus stop.
This point in the run, that back end is really starting to lighten up on that fuel load, so it almost feels like the car wants to just turn around on you. Ooh, 3 wide!
Oh my god. Ted's like, nope.
Oh, so gutsy.
It's so difficult to go side by side through there.
Now this is where it's really going to count. That front end is always going to want to fall away. But if you can get a really good run, if the person in front of you gets in just a little bit too high, you can sneak past them coming out of that corner.
Ask and ye shall receive in the comments. Kylo Ciacelli sending us that comment. Need the onboard. 90210 is checking in. Oh, look, it's my ex-wife's second favorite place. Spa. Gosh, it is so hard to even decide where you want to look at this. You can see that the 2 battling ahead of Ted Burns in 3rd, but watching his inputs is just as cool to see here.
He's just so smooth on the wheel.
I mean, he's cruising at this point. You can hear him breathing the throttle a little bit. He does not want to be part of this getting into the bus stop. White
Being that
flag.
smooth.
Oh my goodness, 1 to go here at Spa. Lundy, Porcelli, Burns, Daly, Paddock, Lemcool, your top 6, and they're all together.
goes
Big
wide.
dive by Porcelli. Porcelli's going to
Interesting.
claim the lead out of La Source. The problem is, does he want to actually have the lead there?
Very sneaky, sis.
Oh, 3 wide down Camel.
So tight.
Porcelli's going to fall back. Now he tries to draft again. Burns outside. He's going to have the position. Lundy up to second. Here comes Daly up inside of Porcelli. Almost a little bit of right side romance from Nicholas Daly.
Keep it smooth, boys. Keep it smooth. Leave with a little bit of something. Don't leave with nothing.
Ooh, a little bit of a twitch there. Out of Carter Lundy as he goes wide. Porcelli goes wide. So does Daly. At this point, Lundy's kind of last great chance is going to be into the bus stop, and he is going to have a huge tow. A little bit of an awkward entry there for Ted Burns.
This corner exit is so important because it's all flat from here.
And we saw a little bit of an off track, the same thing in the USF race. Is Carter Lundy going to have a shot? Are we going to go 3 wide over the line again?
Do you even have to ask at this point?
Last time we... Oh, they touch!
Woo!
Lundy slides wide. Where does Porcelli go? Into the bus stop. Out of the bus stop. Drag race to the line. Who's it going to be? How about Ted Burns by a car length? What a finish again. Ted Burns, Carter Lundy, David Porcelli on the podium.
Great finish. Great finish.
That was fun. Ted Burns picking up the win. Win number 3 for Ted Burns on the broadcast season. Equaling the total of everybody else. David Porcelli with a couple, Carter Lundy with a win in Indy Pro as well. As Teddy B comes around, he's going to burn them down. Let's take a look and show you our race results here this evening. Burns, Lundy, Porcelli, Daly, Paddock, the top 5. 6 through 10, Carl Lemcool, Sean Malloy Esquire, Richard Holt, Nagisa Yoshikawa, and Mike Holler. 11 to 15, Brian Labarge, Rod Eskew, Frank Wynn, Blaze Andrich, and Jay Dixon. 16 through 19 tonight will be Stephen C. Thompson, Brian Karszewski, Liam Loisel, and Felipe Scarroll not getting out onto the grid. Tough luck there for the Brazilian, making his first appearance here tonight. Good Lord. I tell you what, we got what we expected here, James. I was not ready for the contact with a third of a lap to go, though.
Yeah, that was some serious gut check moments right there, and a whole lot of all the heartburn these races are giving me, man.
Pucker factor Zulu, that's for sure. Christian, you kind of nailed it as we were getting late in this race. You were going to have to make the gutsy move maybe a little bit earlier than you wanted to. It wasn't directly into the bus stop. It was actually coming kind of about this point on the racetrack. Making contact, a little bit off track. This is where things really fix to get going here on that 1 to go lap.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All in that downhill section, going in too hot, the front end just goes away from you.
Ted Burns, David Porcelli, Everett Paddock, all having off tracks on the final lap of the race. So 3 of your top 5 getting off the race course. Taking a look here, see, we don't have anybody up into the booth ready yet for the interviews. 90210, let's check again a couple of the comments up here. 90210 saying, I'm watching 6th because they're far enough back to not die. Yeah, that was kind of the feeling of this one. Something was coming. Tasty. That was super intense. I got what I wanted. Great broadcast. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate the kind words. Don't go anywhere. If you like this one, wait for what we got coming up. That one's...
Oh me, oh my.
Yes, please. Let's bring in the guy who finished in first here this evening. A fantastic drive. Picking up the win tonight is Ted Burns. Congratulations, man. That was, well, maybe we'll say some more theatrics coming down to 1 to go. I mean, you're coming to the white flag. You were in 3rd. Talk us through that final lap, because it was intense.
Yeah, I actually made a move on Carter into the final chicane with, I think, like 2 to go, because I did not want to be, the one passing on Kemmel Straight there with on coming to the white flag. So I was perfectly content sitting back there in 3rd. I knew we had a really fast car in a straight line, so I'd be able to get the both of them going up the straight there, and so I was able to get past 2 of them, or at least most of the way past the 2 of them, and be able to outbrake them at the end of Kemmel on the last lap there. And I figured I'd rather be in front going into the final chicane and take my chances, be able to try and pick which side I wanted to defend. So yeah, it was intense battle all the way up to the end.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because one of the things that we talked about was how far back do you start planning out when that last move is going to come. I don't want to be 1st or 2nd at the white flag lap. I want to be 3rd, or I want to be 2nd. Or how soon do you have to start thinking about that? Is that something that you can do halfway through the race, or do you have to kind of just let things play out a little bit?
Yeah, it's really kind of playing off the competitors too, because I mean I think the last time we were here, David and I, we were just taking it really easy, not passing each other, so that kind of really changes your mindset, as opposed to here, when there's that many cars in a line, you can't really take your time and fall way back and try and set up a big run, because you're just going to get swamped, and the last thing you want to do is fall back to like 4th or 5th place. So it was kind of trying to stay up front there, and I knew that I wanted to be either in the lead or in 2nd place going into the final hairpin. So I figured 3rd place was a great spot to be going on to the last lap, because I'd at least be able to get one car up Kemmel Straight and hopefully get them both and be in the lead, and that's exactly how it worked out. So I think to answer your question, it was maybe with like three laps to go, started thinking about that. But yeah, I think any earlier than that, the whole dynamic of the race just it kind of dictates where it goes.
Well, this was a big night for you in the championship standings as well. Obviously, David and Carter both having good runs here tonight, ending up on the podium. But you've got a race entering this particular split race. You had a week in hand over Carter. David, you both had 6 weeks counted, and you had about 200 points on David. Do you start to feel good at the halfway point of the season, or are you kind of still, I can't think points yet?
It's definitely not feeling good, because I mean you look at the pace of those 2 guys and it's so evenly matched, and it's just a chess match about car placement out there, and sometimes you get a little bit of bad luck or you hit a curb wrong, and that could be the championship right there, because it's so tight and coming down to the battle. So you got to fight every single week, I think, all the way to the end, because as more and more people show up to this series, which is awesome to see, it's it just means there's more and more points on offer. So you can't count any of the weeks out. You just have to be on it week in, week out, and so it's intense, but that's what makes it so much fun, and allows us to put on such an awesome show for you guys.
Well, we appreciate it, buddy. Once again, great drive, fantastic show. We appreciate it. And before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, got to thank Downforce Racing. I think this is a 3 in a row at Spa. This is, I think, the largest margin by probably like tenfold over the last 2 races combined. So it was nice to have a little bit bigger buffer there. But they gave me a super fast car, and we were able to get all of our cars up there into the top 5. So it was just awesome to see. And thanks you guys for putting on a great broadcast. And yeah, can't wait to watch it back.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you taking some time with us here. And now let's talk to the guy who came home second this evening, Mr. Carter Lundy. And man, this one was interesting because we saw the pass with 2 to go that Ted made into the bus stop. That one was really pretty intense. We saw the stuff down the Camel Straight that we expected, and then the contact on the white flag lap happening. There was a lot going on over that last lap and a half or so.
Yeah, that last lap was well, at least for the final sector, that was a pretty much an exact recreation of what we did last race.
Yes, that's we'll say we're gonna play the whole hashtag no spoilers game. Don't go anywhere if you like this finish. This was one of those races that you were kind of playing the position game. Ted just equated it to playing chess. James said the same thing during the broadcast. Is that kind of the mindset you have to take in, or is it possible to be a little bit more aggressive when you're running this kind of car at a place that you just know you're going to be draft locked?
Well, for the first few laps of the race, we were all just staying in line. We were trying to break the toe from the pack behind, and then once we got to lap 6 or 7, everybody was in, and there was no chance we were breaking. So I don't think we were really planning until the last lap at that point. It was just we were swapping around, and it didn't really have an effect because like with the toe, like you said. And then I started planning out what I wanted to do with a couple of laps to go. And the tire wear had a big effect on that as well. I did not expect the drop off to be so big, but in the last 2 or 3 laps, I was really, really struggling. So I wanted to be at the front, and that way I couldn't be gapped. But I probably wouldn't have got gapped, but I just wanted to be safe. And then onto the last lap, I let David go for the slipstream. I just thought that was the best option because I didn't want to drop back to third. And then yeah, it went down to the final chicane. I had the inside. Ted had the outside. He broke later, and he got the position.
Well, congratulations on the podium. This was a fantastic drive tonight. We appreciate you coming up to the booth here and hanging out with us for a minute. And before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs and thank yous one more time.
Yeah. Well, once again, thank you guys as usual for the great broadcast. I'm sure this race is going to be just as exciting as every other one. Glad we got to end on a positive there. The racing was great, so thanks to everybody driving for keeping it clean there. Thanks to you guys again for the broadcast, and simracingcenter.com, the sponsor on the side of my car. Simracingcenter.com, and anybody watching should go check it out.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here in the booth for a couple of minutes. And before we head off to Indy or USF 2000 land here, boys, we'll get ready to close this one out. Fantastic show as expected, Christian. This night of racing was really just incredible.
It really, really was. And honestly, I feel like the track length, just the way that it's all set up and how you can really play with the straightaways and how you can attack the corners and just the kind of patience that you got to have. It really makes for just a fantastic race all around, really, no matter what you're in.
Yeah, this one was, like you said, just fantastic. Everything about this race was fantastic. James, next week, you and I will be in the booth for Long Beach, joined by, I don't know if we have Bizzle or if we have Seb next week, but man alive, we're going from Spa to Long Beach, another place where the draft is heavy, the corners are tight, and the passing opportunities are aplenty.
Passing opportunities aplenty is a bit of a stretch. Plenty if you have plenty downstairs, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's interesting. it kind of varies. Either we see a close race or a dumpster fire. Like I'll never forget that 3 wide dive bomb into turn 1 on lap 1 that murdered half the field. So we could either get that or a pretty nice and straightforward race. So
Yeah, we were just
we'll see.
discussing that in the pre-race. 5 wide down shoreline drive, trying to go 3 wide through turn 1. That didn't work. Wreck half the field, and I think it was 4th or 5th place that came out and won that race. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's Long Beach. You don't want to miss it. But with that, we're going to take a short commercial break and be right back with the USF 2000 race. Like we said, if you like this one, you're going to love what's in store. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the U.S. Open Wheel Doubleheader right here on the National Racing Network.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again here, the second half of the U.S. Open Wheel Doubleheader coming to you from the legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit. My name is Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. You've been hearing his voice quite a bit here. Christian Jasper joining us as well in the booth. Hopefully we're going to get to see James Watson as well. But, man, I'll tell you what, buddy, this one is... This one's going to be interesting because the USF cars here are pack racy, draft locked. Is this the Talladega of road courses for these guys?
Honestly, in this car, I like to think so. You can put this car just about anywhere on any corner on this track. I don't know if I would do something like this at, say, maybe it's American pseudo counterpart Road America, but here everything is just so smooth, and the car it's almost like the car is heavy enough to where you can do it.
Yeah, you can go a little bit crazy here, and Ted Burns going to be your quickest in practice as qualifications are just getting ready to roll out onto the racetrack. We'll get the timing tower up so you can see where your favorite is. We'll pick up David Porcelli as he's going to make his way out onto the racetrack.
Now this outlap, it's important to get your fast lap in quick because it doesn't give you a short outlap like it would do at, say, Le Mans. And with this, you only have like what is it, like 8 minutes or so to get that in, and it's in these cars, it's a lap is 2.5 minutes. So by the time you're done, the session is already up.
Yeah, that's a big key to this one. In fact, normally we see a little bit of a delay in people getting out onto the racetrack. No such thing happening this time. Everybody getting out onto the racetrack as quickly as they possibly can. Let's take a look here, and we'll bring up the side-by-side. We'll get Teddy B down here in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, along with David Porcelli on his qualification lap.
It's it. Yeah, sometimes watching these two, how they warm up, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of. I might be doing some sacrilege here talking about the Thunders, but it's kind of like watching supercars in qualifying. You know, especially with something like this, you can't waste any time, so you can just kind of go out and start laying it down and warm everything up, or you just kind of take your time to get your tires warmed up, make sure brakes are at that right temperature, your tires are working the way that you want to. Because I mean, in the USF, if you're pitting, your race is done. So you got to make those tires last, and they're pretty hard compound. But
I think
you still want to be able to flex.
That's a pretty big key to this one too. As much as we talk about, the tires shouldn't matter, the fuel shouldn't matter, it matters in these cars. Only because you're talking small advantages are a huge deal when you look at lap time differences that are going to be in the hundredths of a second. That's making the difference between first and third, possibly. We've seen the Indy Pro 2000 cars go 3 wide across the start-finish line here. You need to save every bit.
Absolutely. And I really don't see why we wouldn't see something like that happen here, especially with it. If everyone behaves, this is going to be a really tight race. But that's the big thing, and everyone's got to behave. But in a race that's only got maybe about 6 laps, it's a long lap, but again, it's only 6.
Well, so. It's a long lap, but it's not a ton of opportunities when you really start to think about where things line up for these drivers. You're only going to get 6 cracks at the chicane here into Lake Home that we see David Porcelli attacking right now. You're only going to get so many shots into Bruchelle, which is the next kind of horseshoe-shaped corner that Porcelli's going to get to. When you have limited opportunities, just because of how the shortness of the race in terms of lap count, you've really got to be on the attack.
Absolutely, and especially here in this section as he's coming down to the double apex left-hander, it's from the top of the Kemmel Straight going through Lacombe, it's all downhill from there. Every single corner is off camber. You have to get it right. And the way that honestly, just how wide and really how smooth the track is, it really invites you. Well, that was a good one.
I really see Teddy B getting off track a little bit there.
it really it really invites you to try to attack it as hard as possible, but it is a long lap, and just like with any sort of track, but this one especially, you really have to have patience, especially through the technical sections of the course, because if you hit it just a little bit too hard, you're already at an off track, or heck, you might even be so far as to be in the wall.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big concerns is how do you not screw this up? And quite frankly, it's something that these drivers can do really, really easily if they're not incredibly careful.
Absolutely. And it gets even more tense on a track like this, where it can be such a pack race, than it would be on a track that's, say, like Detroit, where you make one small mistake and it's all over, but you're mostly by yourself. In a race like this, you're around a whole bunch of other people, again, provided everyone behaves, but you're around so many other people. You really have to keep both yourself in check as well as other people in check if you really want to make it to the end.
Lap number 1 coming up on the board. Going to be Carter Lundy at a best lap time of 2 minutes 22.711, 2:23.041 for Mark Uberti. That's a new name for us. David Porcelli, Carl Lemkuhl, Nicholas Daly rounding out the top 5 as everybody is now working lap number 2 with the exception of Carter Lundy. He decided one and done. No mas. I'm out of here. Jay Dixon did not get a lap completed, and it looks like he will not get a lap in the books. Interesting numbers we're already starting to see out of these. Ted Burns, an average start of 2.83. He's leading the USF 2000 Broadcast Championship standings. Actually, I'm sorry, he's now second. 19 points back of Carter Lundy, riding the strength of 2 consecutive wins. But Teddy B's average finish is second. 6 top 10s. 6 top 5s in all 6 races that have counted. It's not like he's gone anywhere. Carter Lundy has just been spectacular over the last couple of weeks. Averaging a start of 4.8, but he's led, bunches of laps. I can't even get the math to work right in my head on this one. Carter Lundy has been impressive. A new face that we're seeing here this season, but man alive, is he bringing the heat here.
He sure is. He's those 2 guys are definitely going to be ones to watch for this one. You don't get that kind of consistency by being messy. You don't get that kind of consistency by really not being able. You get that kind of consistency being able to trust each other, as well. If you're able to run close, so that'll. If they're able to keep it together throughout the whole race, I'm willing to bet that last lap or even those last 2 laps are going to be flyers.
Yeah, I think that's where we start to really see the action come out here as qualifications are just finishing up. We'll pick up Mr. Nagisa Yoshikawa as he comes out of the final corner to cross the start-finish line. Let's see who else. Jay Dixon just getting out on the racetrack, but he will not have enough time to get that car up on the grid. A little bit surprising. Car number 8, with everybody lined up by iRating, he is going to start shotgun on this 16-car field. 4 splits, which is ridiculous. 4th week in a row, an SOF over 4,000. 4,095. A tick lower than what we saw last week, but it's still ridiculous. 4,000 SOF ratings in a D-class race.
Got all the hard hitters coming in tonight. Everybody knows Spa. A lot of people can kind of take or leave Spa because I guess you could argue it's been overdone. But I don't know. Me personally, I kind of love it. That's
yes,
I don't know.
especially
it's
in this car. In these open wheel cars, just give me all the Spa you can possibly feed me. I will gladly take it. Field getting lined up. Let's take a look here at the starting grid because this one is going to be the short pace lap. Very, very quickly getting to green. In fact, you can hear them revving up. They're burning fuel off is what they're doing here for tonight's USF 2000 6-lap adventure around the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, Stavelot, Belgium. Carter Lundy lining up alongside Mark Uberti. Ted Burns and Nicholas Daly on row number 2. How about it? Almost a second back. You hit 3/4 of a second to 4th place. Carter Lundy with an absolute flyer of a lap. David Porcelli, Carl Lemkuhl on row number 3. Nagisa Yoshikawa, Richard Holt occupying row number 4 here this evening. Sean Malloy Esquire and Mike Eckmere on row number 5. Row 6 will have Shu Dozono and Rod Eskew, another new name for us here. Shu, I will try not to butcher your name this evening, but I make no promises. Frank Wynn and Indy Cassie on row number 7. Brian Labarge and Jay Dixon on row number 8. A lot of international flags here, seeing Australia, New Zealand region, Canada, Japan, UK, and Ireland. Love that we're seeing that kind of geographical diversity here in these fields.
Absolutely.
Especially when you consider this race is like 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning for those in Europe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, if they got that Friday off, why not? Come on over to Spa.
And of course, in Japan, I think it's right about. I think they're 12 hours, so it's 9 or 10 in the morning there. I think I could be mistaken on that, but
Give or take, yeah. Now this start is going to be really important, especially for Lundy, because from here he can really get a jump because the pace car is in, and then pretty much as soon as he comes out of that bus stop, if he so chooses, he can just go.
yeah. And actually, he was telling me in the pre-race that he has not led once from pole. Oh, and here he goes. That's going to stack the field up. One car going around at the back. Already a little bit of carnage. Shoot Donoso. Brian Labarge going to be involved in issues. Donoso finally getting the car flipped back around. Lundy's going to lead him down into La Source. Just listen and enjoy, people. The view from Eau Rouge and Radion. All right, the first blast down to Kemmel Straight. Is the move going to happen here? Uberti, Burns, Porcelli, Daly all packed up right together. Oh, almost a little bit of contact. Burns goes wide. Oh, what a save by Uberti. There's contact. Porcelli slides up over him. Now Porcelli's going to look inside of Burns. Good Lord. 2 for 1. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Put David Porcelli up to P2.
Beautiful save by Mark coming out of the Lacombe. Yeah, coming out of that Lacombe section. It looked like he even had a little bit of, if it wasn't contact, it was netcode contact. He lucked out on that one. It's really good to see he still got that speed.
I was going to say, that was impressive. Porcelli absolutely got up and over. And oh my goodness. Let's see how close it is for the lead here. Not quite close enough. We're going to stay with this pack. Actually, what am I talking about? How about we just give you the split screen? Following race leader, Carter Lundy will slide back, grab David Porcelli, Ted Burns. That's second and third on the racetrack. And then we have this next pack of cars.
Nice and easy, boys. Keep it tidy. Francorchamps can really invite you to go a little bit too fast, but in these cars you can go 2 wide. If you're ballsy, you can go 3 wide. We'll see how they do. It's only the first lap.
Oh, man. Porcelli and Burns are side by side. I'm seeing 3. We're not going to be dumb enough to try 4 wide into the chicane. Little bit of a lock up there.
Indy Cassie taking a peek. Oh, we got trouble.
Indy Cassie having an issue here. She's going to get spun around.
Coming in on the inside into the bus stop. She had the move made. Everybody was side by side. Looked like she just put a little bit too much power down coming out.
Yeah, let's
tap from behind, and it was all over from there.
Yeah, let's take a look. Speed it up a little bit here so we don't miss anything else up at the front. But
nice and easy and tidy, but then just
a
little bit too much.
Punterino.
Too much.
So now this is following along. 4th place, Nicholas Daly, who picked up the win last race out here. I believe it was the Indy Pro race, the 8 o'clock Indy Pro race. David Porcelli going off. Let's see, where did he go off? Speaker's Corner. Actually coming up to where David Porcelli got around last time. Little bit loose here. Snapped it around on corner entry and slid out into the tire barriers, costing himself a win, and Nicholas Daly picking up the win in the 8 o'clock split for the Indy Pro cars.
It can bite you. It can bite you, and it can come quick.
Yeah, it'll get you quick. Let's see here. Porcelli and Teddy B, well, they're playing nice, and they're catching Carter Lundy at the front of the field. Not really a surprise there, per se. Those guys are not dumb. They know what they got to get. know what you have to get accomplished.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially since it looks like they're breaking away from the rest of the field, and they have broken away. It's just, it's all about keeping patience at this point. It's 2 out of 6 laps, but with a 7-kilometer course, it's 2.5 minute laps. It's still quite a ways away from the finish. Just making sure you hit your marks, keeping with the draft, keeping it clean.
Yeah, it's only lap 2 that we're at the conclusion of here. Like it's almost hard to kind of talk about this place watching the USFs because the laps are so incredibly long. But that's also what's giving these guys a chance to get caught back up, too. I don't know if Carter Lundy gets that same gap in the Indy Pros. I'm not positive that anybody catches him.
For Lundy, right now, it would only be between Porcelli and Burns because they're all on the line. See, look, they're closing up right now. But anywhere behind Burns, I wouldn't say so unless the 3 of these guys either just start scrapping. Here's a move. Taking a peek on the inside into Lacombe, gets the move done nice and clean.
Man, that's how you take care of business right there.
Absolutely, but that doesn't mean you're going to keep it. Again, it's all downhill from here. The front end wants to really come away from you. You want to carry more speed into it, but you got to be real easy on the throttle. This left-hander is so fast.
And easy to get the 1X for the off track there. That's something that we don't normally see a lot of. We saw a little bit of it at Rudskogen last week where you would get some of the tricky off tracks and slowdowns. Spa has some of them as well. Dip the tires off in the wrong place and you're going to get a slowdown and the X's that come with it. Just something else these drivers have to think about.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that can mess your race up right then and there unless you really know how to kind of eke out those tenths as you got that nice little counter telling you to slow down. It can be the end of your race if you do it at the wrong place at the right time. Is he going on the outside? Making a move into the bus stop, nice and clean. That's how you do it.
Porcelli almost looked like he backed up the bus stop just a little bit to try to get the run down to La Source.
It did, and honestly, if he did that, that was a really smart move to make, especially at only this point in the race. We're on lap 4. There's 2 to go. So that's still about 14 kilometers. That's still about 5 minutes. It's a long lap, but if you wait a little bit too long, it can be the end of it. I think this is where they're really going to start turning it up. See, they're already going side by side.
Yep.
More curve, no rouge. Now they're really going to start eating it up. Here comes Burns.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Did Porcelli make the move too quick? 3 wide to Lacombe. Oh, that's not smart. Teddy B gets back in line. Lundy, we saw 2 passes on the Kemmel straight in these cars. That's kind of ridiculous. Porcelli's got to swing wide.
I'll tell you what Burns is thinking at this point. Yeah, just keep on fighting. Let me come up to that. Take each other out.
Yeah,
I'll take that spot whenever y'all start going wide.
You want to be really close. Well, yeah, the problem is you want to be close enough to take advantage, but not so close that they wreck you, that you get caught up in their mess that they create.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's that? I feel like that's kind of the, not the takeaway, but it's kind of the plus about being able to race close in Spa. If you're in 3rd position, especially in this section here, it all goes downhill, so your car just already pushes to the outside. So if someone messes up, more than likely you can just go to the inside of the corner and drive past them, no problem.
Man, I'll tell you what, this battle just back behind the leaders is really good too. Nicholas Daly, Carl Lemkool, Nagisa Yoshikawa battling for position as we're down to 3 to go already, which is quite frankly insane. Let's tell you the top 10 in your broadcast championship points here for the USF 2000 championship. Carter Lundy holding on to that 19-point lead over Ted Burns. David Porcelli, Nicholas Daly, Cameron Dance, the top 5. 6 through 10, it's actually a tie for 5th with Richard Holt. Nagisa Yoshikawa, 7th. Jerome Lamy, 8th. Marcello Panicia tied for 8th with James Watson and Lamy. And in the 10th, tied for 10th, Ben Holko and Savio Panicia. Not many of those drivers in this race here this evening, though. So likely to see a little bit of a point shake-up deeper. The top 3 are the top 3. That's what we're seeing going crazy here at the front of the field with 2 to go.
I was half expecting him to take it side by side through Eau Rouge. You can do it in these cars. We go 3 wide on the Kemmel Straight. He's got the toe. Ted Burns going into the lead.
What a move, Teddy B.
That was exactly what he was looking for. Now, he's got to be able to hold that for the next couple of laps. Otherwise, it's going to be nothing doing, because Porcelli could just as easily capitalize on that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think Porcelli might be kind of licking his chops a little bit here, because he saw the move that Ted Burns made, and he was able to clear it down the Kemmel Straight. It wasn't even like you were fighting into Lake Home. Almost like 3rd is a better spot to be than 2nd right now. And I guess the worst spot to possibly be is the race leader, because you're under attack from all sides.
Absolutely. You got to be able to. If you're in front, ooh, Porcelli got a little bit loose going in there. If you're in front, you really got to be able to defend as best as you can, but you still got to keep it nice and tidy, because the move really happens either going into or coming out of Eau Rouge. You can make moves elsewhere, but it's a little bit harder to do, especially with the off-camber corners that are on this track.
Man, Porcelli's getting antsy. He wants a piece of Lundy. Oh, he's going to go 3 wide towards the bus stop. Nope, not going to have the room to do it. Teddy B doing a nice job covering the line off. They will see the white silk this time. No French surrender. That means it's 1 to go. Burns, Lundy, Porcelli at the line. 4th place, Nicholas Daly is starting to catch up.
If they're not careful, Daly is going to get them going into Lacombe.
Wide run through La Source for Lundy. He's going to have to contend with Porcelli, but Porcelli's got to get in line. You can fight for 2nd all you want, but it's not going to do you any good if you don't catch Teddy B. Porcelli having to look outside. Ted Burns going to cover off the inside lane. Now he fades back up towards the middle. That's the Pruitt fade we were looking for.
This is letting Daly get even closer now. Whether or not he can do it, I don't know, but they would really have to mess up to do that.
Wow, big dive into Brichelle by Lundy. Oh, hold on to it.
Good save.
Great save, and he's still going to have a shot at the lead. Almost some right side romance on Teddy B. Porcelli doesn't know where to go. Lundy, Burns, Porcelli continuing side by side. This is 2/3 of a lap now this way.
He's trying to thread the needle. He was thinking about it.
Gosh, this is so good.
Daly is in the fight now. Daly is in the fight. He is right there.
Oh, Teddy B runs a little wide. Is that going to open up the door for Carter Lundy? He's going to have the draft. So will David Porcelli. Where is Daly going to go in all of this?
He's going to catch him. He's right there. He is right there. He could try to make the move if he wanted to, but he lifts.
Oh,
Oh man, they're so close.
3 wide into the bus stop. Lundy, Burns make contact. They make contact with Porcelli. Porcelli goes around, still banging wheels. At the line, who's it going to be? Oh, my goodness, Carter Lundy, what a finish.
All up to the last corner on the last lap. Man, oh, man.
David Porcelli gets across the line in 11th position. Carter Lundy, Ted Burns, Nicholas Daly, your top 3. Oh, my goodness.
What a race.
Slow this one up. This one I do want to watch at half speed.
What a race.
Oh, my goodness. Incredible stuff out of the USF 2000, guys. Let's back it up. Ted Burns getting a little bit off track. And that's really what set this entire thing up. That little bit of a run wide is what gave Lundy, Porcelli, and Daly the opportunity to even go on the attack here.
It really did, and that's part of that whole downhill section. It really invites you to take more curb than you need to. It upsets. It's there. You can take it, but it upsets the car. The whole curb gets underneath it. You have no control once you get there. He was really, really good to keep all 4 tires on the pavement there.
Man alive. Now, there's still 2 wide. At this point, Nicholas Daly he's like, hey, guys, here to the party. What's going on? Porcelli's trying to explain the whole deal to him. And at the same time, he's trying to make the move for the race win as well. Here you see Porcelli. He swings way wide. Ultimately, that may have cost him just enough as the contact was made because these two start banging wheels into the chicane. Porcelli was able to run the clean line, and that's kind of what caught him out.
It really did. It really did. It's a split-second decision, but if he had kept it maybe just a little bit wider, he might have been able to hold it together and keep that, at the very least, keep the podium. But when it comes that close, especially that close at the line, it's a coin flip.
Yeah, buddy.
It's the right decision to make.
Oh
Hats
my
off to him,
goodness.
though. Fantastic run by all of them.
Yes, it was. Just great driving all the way around. My goodness, was that one fun to call. And we get to do this again. Actually, hold up. We're not getting out of here yet. We've got an interview waiting for us. Let's bring Ted Burns up into the booth with us. Teddy B, congratulations. A good second place run. Talk us through that last lap or so with these guys, because it was intense.
Yeah, I mean, I slingshotted up there at the end of Kemmel, I think with 2 to go, and I looked down and I was like, oh shoot, I'm going to be leading on the last lap, and that's like the last place I want to be. So I tried to play little games into La Source and kind of back those 2 up, got them side by side on the run down to our Rouge, and it just put them at like the perfect gap behind that I could kind of manage it up Kemmel straight and still stay ahead. And had a great side by side battle with Carter there for most of that last lap, and yeah, coming in the final hairpin, it was just chaos. I mean, yeah, I tried to do like a little over under on Carter, thinking he'd go a bit deep, but he couldn't quite get there, and he ended up tapping me, and I got as soon as he tapped me, I went right up onto the sausage curb. And I just had no control over the car, so it just sent me right out into him. So I know David was trying to go around the outside, and that contact kind of collected him. So sorry to David for being the innocent bystander there, but it just, the sausage just picked me up. Had nowhere to go after that. But
yeah, that was, you were kind of fighting a losing battle, because if you didn't try to, okay, I can talk. If you had tried to run that straight, you were going to hit the end of the wall. So you had to kind of hook your way back towards the racing surface. Sausage curbs are launching you all over the place. What's going through your head in that moment? Is losing by less than half a car length the outcome that you think is coming there?
No, I didn't think that was coming at all. I thought David was just going to drive around the outside of all of us, but I guess when it came off, it kind of accordion effect over into him. So bummer to hurt his run like that, and how he had a bad finish out of that. So don't like to beat him that way, but yeah, to be able to come out of that, relatively unscathed with only like a 4x or so was I guess the best possible outcome. It was because it was wild going into there. It was everyone was trying to do the over under and block it, and it was it was hard playing two against two cars at once.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, that one was fun to watch. Thank you for putting on a hell of a show. I'm going to say, and now I still don't know how to do this. Good luck in the Indy Pro race coming up here at 10 o'clock, even though we know it just happened if you're watching the broadcast. It's time shifting, and we're playing with the laws of physics here, so deal with it. Teddy B, good luck in the 10 o'clock race. We appreciate you hanging out with us, man. And before we let you go, get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
No problem. Got to thank Downforce Racing. You guys put in a lot of effort all week working on making sure we're fast here. And thanks you guys putting on an awesome broadcast. Can't wait to watch it back.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you hanging out with us here for a minute. And now it's time to talk to our third place finisher, another Downforce Racing guy who was fourth and about a mile back coming to the white flag. Nicholas Daly ultimately comes home in the third position. Congratulations. Just absolutely fantastic drive there for car number 6 tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really happy to just barely make it on the podium. But yeah, I guess I was a little bit lucky. They were battling so hard in front of me that I was able to close up. I think that was a 3-second gap. But yeah, just putting in clean laps and finally made it on the last lap.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes you have to be there to be able to capitalize, and that was a big thing that we saw here tonight. How do you put yourself mentally in that position of just saying, I'm going to log laps, try to get any draft I can, and just be there if it happens? Because 3 seconds back at 1 to go, you're kind of starting to check out into, okay, fourth is good enough tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you just keep pushing because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, I could see that they were battling pretty hard, and I was able to close like 1 second on one lap, so I knew there could be just a little opportunity there, and yeah, just about made it.
Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, it was a fantastic show you guys put on for us. Congratulations once again to Downforce putting 2 cars on the podium this week. And before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, shout out as always to Downforce Racing and National Racing Network for putting on a great broadcast every week. And thank you to the viewers for watching. Thanks.
All right, buddy. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And, man alive, those 2 interviews were fun. This guy is going to be jacked up. Your race winner tonight, Mr. Carter Lundy. Again, back to back, I think it is, in the USF 2000s. You're going on an absolute tear right now, and you're doing it in style here tonight. Congratulations on picking up the win here at Spa.
Yeah, thank you. Style is one word to describe it. Yeah, it was a great race up until that point, and I mean that final lap especially was pretty crazy. We were side by side through the middle of the lap through Bruchelle, as you say, and then through Pouan and all that. It was really awesome, and then into the final chicane, I just broke slightly too late. I don't even know if I necessarily broke too late. I think it's just because of the trajectory I had from being right on the inside, so that when I came onto the apex, I just lost the rear end slightly. My rear wheel went into Ted, and then Ted had to re-enter, and then he pushed me into to David. But we all would have got through there cleanly. It was a shame David got the worst of it because he did nothing wrong there.
Yeah, sometimes that's, what's it? Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. Ultimately, tonight, you were the windshield taking care of business here. I mean, that was such barely a clip on that sausage curb. Watching the replay in slow-mo here, yeah, I think all 3 of you were airborne at various points in those last couple of corners. What is the outcome? I asked the same question to Ted Burns. What is the outcome that you see coming when all of that contact is happening? Do you see a drag race to the line as like the thing that's going to happen there?
Well, once I made the contact with him, got the 4X, and then when he re-entered over the sausage, I just felt a big thump on my car, and then I thought he was just all three of us were going to go inside each other, and maybe none of us would have finished. But um, it's hard to process and think about those things in the moment. But it was yeah, we were three wide, all up in the air there, and then David was on the outside with nowhere to go, and yeah, it's just a shame he got the worst of it. But I mean, these things they happen in racing, I guess you'd say. That was our first well, I suppose aside from the net code I got with Ted last week, that was our first coming together all season. So hopefully it's a one-off. Hopefully we don't do that again, because we do have great battles, and it was a great battle up until that point, but it just maybe a racing incident at the end of the day. But we'll try and clean that up for next race.
Well, yeah, and you're going to be doing it again here very, very shortly for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. Obviously, and again, that race you just watched, but these guys are doing it in the 9 o'clock hour, whatever. Anyway, Carter, congratulations. Man, that one was fun to watch. Good luck in the Indy Pro race. And before we let you go, do all the sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, thank you again for the. It's weird. We're doing an interview after the USF now. Are we coming back in for the Indy Pro after?
Yes, we are coming back for Indy Pro.
Okay. Well, for maybe the first time or maybe the last time, thank you for the broadcast as usual. I mean, I'm excited to watch that one back on replay. Yeah, thanks to you guys. It's always a great show, and thanks to well, maybe go check out simracingcenter.com for iRacing setups, iRacing coaching, F1 setups and coaching. Simracingcenter.com.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And, man, I like getting to do the interviews for the USF. We haven't gotten to do these yet this season, so that one was fun. Christian Jasper, good Lord, man. We heard these guys talking. They all it's funny you hear podium guys almost sound disappointed because there was contact. It goes to show I'll say sportsmanship, the gentlemanly nature of this. We saw it last week. We're seeing it again here this week. It's what makes for a great community.
Very much so. Very much so. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We're all here to have a good time. And, sometimes if something doesn't really go your way, it can be a bit of a bummer. But being able to pick up and come back, that's really where it counts.
Yes, it is. And they're going to have to do it again here. The Indy Pro race. I'm looking forward to that one. More speed, more draft lock, more everything insanity here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Stavelot, Belgium. We're looking forward to bringing you more action coming up here next week. It will be, I think, just these guys next week. And then I can't believe we're already into February. That means the return of the Sim Racers Club coming up about the middle of the month. 36-week schedule for those guys. 3 12-week seasons, whole lot of prizes going out the door, and some big changes coming. Oh, actually, we have the announcement to make. We said we would do these over the last couple of weeks of the season. Oh, yeah, we said the last 3. So, it's a teaser. We're not doing one tonight. With that, we're getting the hell out of here. For Christian Jasper and everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name's Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all later. Have a great night, everybody.